Welcome to a new session, and in this session we are going to see how to bootstrap a EC2 instance. Okay, so that's bootstrapping. All right. So what is the process of bootstrapping? Meaning you want to have a script or a set of installations done on your machine before even your machine is launched. All right, so you want to run those set of scripts. So rather than having the script run on the machine after the machine is completely set up and it's coming online, and then you're connecting to it, and then you're going to run all those scripts. Rather than doing that, what we are going to do is we are going to follow the method of bootstrapping. And using the bootstrapping, what is going to happen is before the machine even is coming up, before the machine, the image is getting set and the machine is booting, even before at that point, the moment it's going to be starting to boot, you will have all the installations done and all the scripts executed, so that you have a predefined environment, or let's say you have a custom environment for your own organization. So that is the purpose of bootstrapping. So let's see how to perform this bootstrapping now. So the first step, go ahead and launch instance. We are going to do a bootstrapping on a Linux to AMI. So let's click on that one. All right, we are going to continue to use the T2 Micro free tier eligible one. And now comes the important part. Now under the configure instance details, you have number of instances, purchasing option, and all that, right? So when you come down, you have this, under the advanced details, you have what is called as the user data. Okay, so you have two options here. Either you can copy paste the script here, or you can, just pull it as a file also. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it as a text. Okay, so I have provided you the script in the, description, and you can find it from there. However, I'm going to open it now and explain it to you once what is happening. Okay, so let me make them a bit bigger. Okay, so what happens is this is a simple script, bash script. So what I'm doing here is, the shebang. Then what I want to do in the first step is I want to update the OS. All right. Remember, we normally do this updation at the, once we are, launching the instance, and then, we normally run the update. Rather than that, what we are doing right now is when the machine is being booted, at that time itself, we are going to get the machine to do it automatically rather than we doing it manually. All right. And in the next step, what we are doing is we are installing the HTTPD service. Okay, and it's again going to be automated. So that is the reason I want to add the Y here, because if we don't add the Y, what would happen is it asks for the interactive responses. So what would happen is it may fail. So that is the reason I'm giving Y there. Then, though the system has been though the HTTPD service has been installed, we need to start it. So for which I want to use systemctl start HTTPD. Then I can use systemctl enable HTTPD. So the reason that we enable HTTPD is why? Because we want the machine to, the HTTPD service to come online every time automatically when the machine is rebooting. And in the last step, what we are going to do is the web service, the Apache web server normally looks for the content under the var www.html, and this is the file which is going to be shown on your web page as the home page. So that is the index.html. So we are going to write some content into it. It's pretty simple. H1 is HTML, classification of a heading. And I'm going to just put in hello user, greeting from, and I'm going to put in the host name. Okay, and I'm going to route it to the HTML / var www.html / index.html. So what typically should happen is once the machine is up, all right, I should have a running website, a simple running static website. And remember, for the purpose of this, we also need to have the ports 80 and 443 open for the access to be happening. All right, for the uh, Windows, for the website to be accessible globally, we need to open the ports 80 and 443. So let's copy this now and let's put it into the user data here. Make sure it's formatted correctly, right? Yeah, that seems to be pretty much okay now. And if it fails, it means that this is there should have been some issue in the formatting of the content here. So please be mindful about this. All right. Next, let me go and add storage. I'll leave it as the default now. I'll add tags. I'll call this as server one. I'll call it as demo server one web server. Okay. Next, I'm going to configure the security group. I have a security group already which defines SSH alone for me. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go with only one security group, and I'm going to add the HTTP and HTTPS manually later. I want you to see how we can add the security groups later to a machine manually. So to demonstrate that, I'm not going to add the HTTP and HTTP service here, but at the moment we have the SSH access to the machine. All right. So let me go ahead and select the server security group, and this is giving me port 2022 access from anywhere, because we set it in the previous session already. We'll use the same one. So I'll click on review and launch. I'll click on launch. I'll use the same key pair, and I'll click on the launch instance. And remember, this instance, it is going to take a while to come online completely. Why? Because the update command does take a while for it to get completed, and we want the HTTPD to be installed also. The HTTPD is quite a very small installation. It doesn't take more than a minute. However, the update does take quite some time, so we will have to be patient about it. So let's see what's happening there. It is changed to running now. We click on it, and I'm going to use the instance connect to connect to the machine. Let's see what's happening here. If I click on connect, I'll be just seeing the cursor blinking here. Wow, that was really fast. So let's check if HTTPD was successfully installed. Systemctl status HTTPD. Wow, that was really fast, and the HTTPD is installed and it is active and running. So by now, what should happen is, if we are going to try to access this machine from the outside world, we should be getting a web page there, right? But what is happening is, it's just searching for it, and there is pretty much nothing happening. So the reason is why I told you earlier, right? Because the instance does not allow the incoming connections on port 80 and 443 for the web server to be accessible. So how am I going to do that? So to do that, let's go here. Under network and security, you will have security groups. Let me open the security groups in a new tab. All right. So we already have a few security groups here. I'll create a new security group, and I will call this as the web server security group. All right. And I'll copy paste this into the description also. We'll be talking about the VPC in detail later. Let's just leave it as it is. So I'll go for the HTTPS, and I want to allow incoming connections from anywhere, and I'll also add the HTTP to allow incoming connections from anywhere. Okay, so now that is set, and outbound rules are always all traffic, so we really do not have to worry unless you want to block some outgoing traffic on any specific port. So now the security group has been created, and the security group name is web server security group. Good. Now the next step that we want to do is we want to go back to the instance, select the instance, go to actions, and under security you will have the change security group. So click on that and you see that one security group is already added. We can add multiple security groups. So once I click on the search bar here, I should be seeing the list of security groups which are available for me. So I need to add the web server security group. Click on add security group, because unless you click on add security group, it is not going to be added here. So next I'm going to click on save, and once it is saved, let me go and check here the security group name. We have server security group and web server security group also. So since it's already running, wow. So we can see that it is saying hello user, greeting from IP 172.168.84-8. So remember, this is the the host name, because typically the host name is set as the private IP address .ec2.internal. It will be the host. This will be the private IP address .ec2.internal. This is a standard that AWS follows. All right. So yeah. So that's the way we are going to be setting up. There is two parts to this particular session. The part one is that we have set up a web server and we are able to access it from the outside world, as well as we have also followed the method of bootstrapping rather than manually installing the HTTP service. Thank you very much for watching this session, and see you in the next session.